We see the daily headlines of data breaches and malicious attacks. Where are things heading? Is it hopeless? Is there anything we can do to make it stop? Please listen. There is a solution, and we have the technology to do it. In the vast online population of billions, bad actors masquerade and hide, freely doing their work. But what if bad actors couldn't hide? What if they could be held accountable for their bad acts? Wouldn't that be a different world? Does the constant rain of security patches and products remind you of other chronic ailments that latch onto the newest elixir, then move on to the next? If you don't address the underlying problem, you'll never fix it. The bad guys learn fast, keeping the security technology industry booming. And all the while, the real solution to our runaway online mayhem is hiding in plain sight. Accountability. The technology to do it has been around for decades. It's called PKI. It's a construction material that has been deployed in bits and pieces over the years, but so far never properly or to its full potential. Now it can be, and we call it PKI done right. PKI is a combination workhorse and superstar, doing a very basic but critically important thing. It makes a rock-solid connection between a digital identity and a real person. Here's how. Everyone has their own unique pair of numbers that can make and solve digital puzzles. That's what PKI is doing behind the scenes, all the time, confirming the identity of real people. PKI confirms it's really you in identity-critical operations like logging in. No more passwords to be forgotten or stolen. And digital signatures, which confirm both the identity of the signer and the unchanged contents of the signed item. PKI can also confirm the identity of the intended decryptor of encrypted data. Now, back to PKI-secured digital signatures, signatures of accountable, real human beings. Here are some examples of how digital signatures of real people will change everything. Imagine. Signed emails. If the signature cannot be confirmed, then the contents of the email can't be trusted. Phishing, spear phishing, suspicious attachments, and malicious links will dry up when all it takes is an invalid signature to call them out. Signed documents and other items. Since a digital signature assures the authenticity of the signer and the contents, unauthorized or nefarious changes can no longer slip by unnoticed. Signed blockchain entries. Adding accountability to the usual immutability and anonymity of blockchain means it will no longer be a hiding place for bad actors. Signed code. This will be a new profession for expert, well-paid code auditors who, like a CPA or doctor or architect, put their good name and livelihood on the line when they sign code attesting to its integrity, with professional and criminal liability for misuse of their authority. Signed IoT devices. A signing officer of the manufacturer attests that there is no sleeper cell botnet code that could launch a distributed denial-of-service attack or other mischief. Like the professional code auditor, there is criminal liability for misuse of their signing authority. Signed facilities such as chat rooms, clubs, and social media platforms. A professional inspector takes personal responsibility for the integrity of that facility, similar to an occupancy permit signed by a building inspector, vouching for the safety of a building. Signed system logs. Everyone who makes an entry in a network or system log signs the entry so that every event is connected to an accountable individual as a deterrent against malicious system changes, even by insiders. Signed bank transactions. Beyond the obvious security benefit to customers and the banks, armies of synthetic identities will no longer be able to commit pervasive bank fraud, estimated at billions worldwide. Signed news stories. The reporter's signature stays with the story as it propagates to other outlets, where its authenticity can be seen by readers. Unsigned or altered stories will be flagged, leaving fake news with a shrinking audience. Signed phone calls. Signed caller ID will have a similar effect on junk phone calls, a shrinking audience of takers and a withered incentive for callers. The accountability provided by digital signatures of real people is a deceptively simple but remarkably effective way to stamp out bad behavior. But it's not just accountability, it's accountable anonymity. Like license plates on cars, no one gets to know your identity unless there's an incident that requires a legal need to know. PKI-based identities will also enable real privacy, with your information available only when accompanied by your digitally signed license and NDA. No more plundering of your personal information by the big data robbers. You may be wondering, how can we be sure, in the original linking of a digital identity with a real person, that the person is really who they say they are? That's covered by IDQA, Identity Quality Assurance, a patent-pending 8-metric evaluation of factors that contribute to the reliability of a digital identity. Digital signatures everywhere, backed by measurably reliable identities. Accountable anonymity. Real privacy. We call it PKI done right, and it works. We already have the technology to do this, but it isn't plug and play. It will require a new way of doing things. This new environment of PKI-secured identity, accountability, and privacy is called authenticity. It may sound impossible, too good to be true, pie in the sky, or just plain crazy, but it's not. It's just different from the current way of doing things, which is not working. Authenticity will stop the exploding growth of inauthenticity, killing it at the root by cutting off the fuel for the growing menu of techniques it has enabled. Work is underway right now to begin bringing authenticity to our information world. Entrepreneurs, investors, and thought leaders are gathering to help turn this very achievable and desperately needed vision into reality. And by the way, doing nothing is not an option. If things just roll on as they are, the forces we see at work now will continue the downward slide to rock bottom. Cyber rule by organized crime. We can see it happening in the daily delivery of bad news. The knowledge and technology are at hand to change direction. All we need is the will and leadership to choose the path, make the turn, and get to work. The warning lights are blinking red. Here's the definition of authenticity. Digital signatures everywhere, backed by measurably reliable identity certificates that are owned by the person identified and which provide privacy via accountable anonymity. And behind the scenes, making it all work, is PKI done right, the rock-solid keeper of those bonds between digital identities and real people. This has been just a snapshot of authenticity. Here are some other major elements of the complete picture. The city of Osmio, a global source of non-commercial, non-political, resident-owned governance and duly constituted public authority. Professional licensing, the power of individual accountability applied to facilities that serve many individuals. Quiet enjoyment, the time-tested concept of secure indoor spaces, buildings, brought forward into the digital realm. Visit whatisauthenticity.com for more videos about the new world of authenticity.